Ladies, let me tell you something. If a man looks at you a certain way, laughs a little too hard at your jokes, finds reasons to be wherever you are, I need you to hear me clearly. That is not coincidence. That is not friendliness. That is a man flirting with you. And half the time you don't even see it. Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a man and spent the whole drive home replaying it? Sitting there at a red light, gripping the steering wheel, wondering, was he flirting with me or am I imagining things? Sister, that confusion has a name. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand it. You're going to see the signs clear as day. And you will never again sit there wondering if a man is interested while he is practically waving a flag in your face. Now hear me on this. Men are not subtle creatures. We think we're being smooth. We think we're playing it cool. Baby, we are about as subtle as a marching band in a library. The problem is not that men hide their interest. The problem is that nobody ever taught you how to read the language men actually speak. You were taught to listen to words. But a man's mouth will lie to you. His body won't. His habits won't. His eyes won't. So sit down. Pour yourself something. Let me break this down for you. Sign by sign. Truth by truth. Until you can spot a flirting man from across the room like you've got X-ray vision. See, here's what men are wired to do. When a man is interested in a woman, everything in him shifts before his brain even catches up. This is not poetry, sister. This is biology. A man's attention is the most honest currency he has. Where his attention goes, his interest lives. And flirting is nothing more than attention with a heartbeat behind it. Let me break down what's really happening inside his mind when he flirts. A man flirts for one reason above all others. He is testing. He is dipping his toe in the water to see if the water is warm. He wants to know if you are receptive before he risks his ego. Because I need you to understand something about men. A man's ego is the most fragile thing in his entire body. He would rather walk away from a woman he likes than walk toward her and get rejected in front of his own pride. So what does he do instead? He sends signals, little probes, little tests, a joke to see if you laugh, a touch on the arm to see if you pull away, a question about your weekend to see if another man's name comes up. Every single one of those moves is a man asking a question he is too scared to ask out loud. The question is, do I have a chance with you? And here's the part that breaks my heart. Women miss these signals every single day. Not because you're not smart, not because you're not observant, but because you've been trained to doubt yourself. You've been told you're reading too much into things. You've been told not to assume. So a man can be standing right in front of you, practically sending up smoke signals, and you'll talk yourself out of it. He's just friendly. He's like that with everyone. He probably has a girlfriend. I'm imagining it. Stop that. Stop doubting what your spirit already knows. Your intuition is not imagination. Your intuition is intelligence. And today, we're going to back up that intuition with knowledge. So the next time a man flirts with you, you won't wonder. You'll know. Now, the first sign, and this one is so obvious you'll want to laugh, but you need to hear it with fresh ears. A man who is flirting with you looks at you, not glances, looks. I'm talking about the kind of looking that has weight to it. You feel it before you see it. You're across the room, you're laughing with your girlfriend, and you feel that little tug on the back of your neck, and you turn, and there he is already looking. Not looking because you turned, looking before you turned. That's sign number one, and it is the foundation everything else is built on. See, here's what's happening inside his mind. A man's eyes are connected to his desire like a wire to a switch. Men are visual creatures down to the bone. When something pleases a man, his eyes go back to it over and over like a hand going back to a warm stove. He can't help it. He is not deciding to look at you. He is being pulled. I knew a woman, let's call her Maya. Maya worked in an office with a man named Terrence. Maya told me, I think Terrence might like me, but I'm not sure. He just looks at me a lot. Baby girl, just looks at me a lot. That's like saying the sun just shines a lot. That is the thing. That's the whole signal. I told Maya, the next time you're in a meeting, count how many times his eyes come back to you. She counted 11 times in 45 minutes. 11. Sister, a man does not look at a woman 11 times in a meeting because he's checking her spreadsheet. Now here's the detail that separates flirting from just looking. When a man who likes you gets caught looking, watch what he does next. A man who is just staring, he'll look away flat. No emotion. But a man who is flirting, he gets caught and something flickers across his face. A little half smile, a quick look down and back up. Maybe he holds your eyes for 1 second longer than strangers should. That 1 second, baby, that 1 second is a confession. And here's another layer. Watch where he looks when you're talking. A man who is flirting with you watches your face like it's the only screen in the room. Your mouth when you talk. Your eyes when you laugh. He's not scanning the room. He's not checking his phone. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? You've been on dates with men who looked everywhere but at you. A flirting man is the opposite. You could set off fireworks behind him and he'd miss it because he's watching you tuck your hair behind your ear. So here's what you do with this sign. The next time you catch him looking, don't snap your eyes away like you did something wrong. Hold it for one breath. 1. Then give him a small, slow smile and look away first. Easy, like it was nothing. You have just told him the water is warm without saying a single word. And I promise you, he will think about that one breath for the rest of the day. Sign number 2, he finds excuses to be near you. Proximity, ladies. Proximity is pursuit in disguise. A man who is flirting with you will engineer reasons to occupy the same air you're breathing. He shows up at the coffee machine when you do. Suddenly, he's parked on your side of the lot. He's in the break room every time you're in the break room. He volunteers for the project you're on. He sits next to you at the meeting when there are 6 empty chairs. 6, sister. And his shoulder ends up next to yours anyway. Let me tell you what's going on in his head. Remember what I told you about the ego? A man cannot just walk up and announce himself most of the time. Too risky. So what he does instead is he creates collisions. Little manufactured moments where contact can happen naturally. So if you reject him, he can tell himself, I wasn't really trying. He is building escape hatches while he builds bridges. That's how scared men are of wanting something they might not get. I knew another woman, let's call her Rachel. Rachel goes to the same gym 3 mornings a week. There was a man there, Marcus, and Rachel said, it's so weird. No matter what time I come in, he seems to be there. And he always ends up on the machine next to mine. I said, Rachel, that man has memorized your schedule like it's scripture. There is nothing weird about it. That is a man orbiting you like you're the sun, she said. But he never says anything. I said, yet, baby, yet. He's close enough to smell your perfume. The words are coming. Now, here's the test that separates flirting from coincidence. And I want you to write this on your heart. Change your pattern once. Somewhere different. Go at a different time. Take a different route. A man who is flirting will adjust. He will find you again within a day or two, and he'll have some smooth little reason why. Coincidence doesn't chase you. Interest does. And let me say this too, because I love you and I want you safe and smart. Proximity is only charming when it's welcome. There's a difference between a man who drifts into your orbit and a man who won't let you leave his. One makes you smile. The other makes you check your locks. You know the difference in your gut. Flirting feels like a gift. Pressure feels like a debt. Never confuse the two. Sign number 3. He remembers everything you say. Everything. You mentioned 3 weeks ago one time in passing that you love peach cobbler. And last Friday he walks in and says, I passed this bakery and they had peach cobbler and I thought of you. You told him your dog's name once. Once. And 2 months later he asks, how's Biscuit doing? Sister, a man does not have hard drive space for the details of a woman he is not interested in. We barely remember what we had for breakfast. If he is cataloging your life, your stories, your favorites, your little offhand comments, that man is not making conversation. He is building a case for you. See, here's the male psychology underneath it. Attention is expensive for a man. His brain is constantly filtering out what doesn't matter to him. Sports stats stay. Your coworker's name goes. But when a woman gets inside a man, really inside, his brain flags everything she says as important. File this. Keep this. This matters because she matters. Memory is the receipt of desire. Where a man's memory goes, his heart has already been. And here's the beautiful flip side, the part that should set you free. Stop performing. Stop rehearsing. Stop trying to say the perfect, impressive thing. Because a man who likes you is not collecting your achievements. He is collecting your details. The way you scrunch your nose. The story about your grandmother. The fact that you hate cilantro. He is memorizing the ordinary because to him, nothing about you is ordinary. Now here's what you do when you notice this sign. Test it once, playfully. Drop a small detail and let it sit. Mention you're nervous about a presentation on Thursday. Then see if Thursday comes and he asks how it went. If he asks, baby, you are living in that man's head rent-free, and he is paying utilities. Sign number 4. His body turns toward you like a compass needle finding north. This one happens below the level of his awareness, which is exactly why it's so honest. Words can be rehearsed. Posture can't. A flirting man orients his whole body toward you. His chest faces you, even in a group of 5 people. His feet point at you. His feet, sister. Nobody thinks about their feet. That's why the feet never lie. When he's standing in a circle and his toes are aimed at you, his attention has a home address, and it's wherever you're standing. Watch what he does when you talk in a group. Everyone else is half listening, looking at their phones, and he's turned toward you like a sunflower. He leans in when you speak, even when he can hear you fine. That's not about volume. That's about gravity. He is trying to close distance any way the room will allow. And then there's the mirroring, and this one is delicious once you see it. You take a sip of your drink. He takes a sip of his. You cross your legs. A moment later, he shifts his posture. Lean back, he leans back. He is not doing it on purpose. The human brain mirrors what it is drawn to. It's called rapport. And it's the body's way of saying, I am with you. I am tuned to your frequency. Let me tell you about Denise. Denise met a man at her friend's cookout, and afterwards she told her girlfriend, I don't know if he liked me. He barely said 2 words. Her girlfriend, who had been watching from across the yard, said, Denise, that man stood facing you for 2 hours. He turned his whole body to you like you were a fireplace in winter. He didn't need words. His skeleton was talking. 2 weeks later, he asked her out, and he told her, I was so nervous at that cookout, I could barely form a sentence. See? The mouth was frozen, but the body was preaching. So here's your move. Next time you're talking to him, take 1 small step back, just 1. Watch what he does. A man who is flirting will close that gap within a minute. He'll step in, he'll lean in. Something in him will not tolerate the extra distance. You didn't say a word, and you just got your answer. Sign number 5. He teases you. Now listen to me carefully, because this one confuses more women than any other sign on the list. Grown men flirt the way little boys do on the playground. I wish I could tell you we evolve, but baby, we just get taller. The little boy who pulled your pigtails in 3rd grade liked you. The grown man giving you a hard time about your terrible taste in movies. The way you say espresso, your fierce loyalty to a losing football team. That man is pulling your pigtails with a paycheck. Here's the psychology. Teasing is a man's way of creating intimacy while keeping plausible deniability. A compliment is a risk. A tease is a risk with a helmet on. If you respond well, great, he's in. If you don't, he can shrug and say he was just joking. But understand what the tease really is. It's a man saying, I see you. I've been paying attention to you. I've noticed enough about you to play with you. Nobody teases a stranger about the small stuff. You have to study a woman to tease her well. Now, there is a line, and I'm going to draw it in permanent marker. Teasing that flirts punches at the silly stuff, the fun stuff, the stuff you're clearly confident about. Your competitive streak at game night. Your dramatic relationship with your coffee maker. Teasing that wounds is not flirting. It's cruelty wearing a costume. If his jokes target your body, your intelligence, your dreams, the tender places, that is not a man flirting. That is a man testing what you'll accept. And you will accept none of it. You hear me? Not X. Not ever. A man who likes you teases you to make you laugh, never to make you small. And here's your move when he teases you. Tease him back. Give it right back to him with a smile, not mean, playful. Men fall in love in the volley. That back and forth, that little verbal tennis match, that is where the electricity lives. A woman who can take a tease and return it with interest is unforgettable to a man, because you have just shown him you can play in his world without losing yours. Sign number 6. He finds reasons to touch you. Small, innocent, deniable touches. The hand on your back as you walk through a door. The brush of lint off your shoulder that maybe wasn't there. The arm touch when he laughs at your joke. The hug that lasts 1 beat longer than a friendship hug. Baby, touch is the boldest signal a cautious man will send, because touch crosses a line that words don't. Here's what's happening inside his mind. A man who is interested in you is hyper aware of the physical space between you. It hums for him. So he starts closing it in the smallest possible increments, watching your reaction each time like a scientist. Did she lean in or lean away? Did she stiffen or soften? Every small touch is a question. Your response is the answer. Now, I'm not talking about a man who paws at you. I'm not talking about hands that wander without invitation. That is not flirting. That is entitlement. And we are going to have a whole different conversation about that kind of man. And it will be a short one. I'm talking about the respectful, slightly touches of a man who is trying to tell you something his mouth hasn't caught up to yet. Here's the test. Touch him back once, lightly. His arm when you laugh, his shoulder when you pass behind him. Then watch him. A man who is flirting will light up like Christmas and find a reason to touch you again within 10 minutes. It's almost comical once you can see it. You touched his arm and suddenly there's lint on your sweater again. There is no lint, sister. There never was any lint. There is a man looking for permission. Sign number 7, his communication has a heartbeat. Let me explain what I mean. A man who is flirting with you doesn't just text you. His texts have rhythm. They come at particular times. Good morning texts, good night texts, the random midday, this made me think of you with a meme or a song. You are on his mind at the bookends of his day. And that means you are in his mind during everything in between. And watch how he texts compared to how he texts everyone else. A man who is interested writes more than he needs to. He asks questions to keep the thread alive. He responds fast. And when he can't, he explains. Sorry, was in a meeting. Baby, a man does not explain delays to a woman he considers background noise. Explanation is consideration. Consideration is interest. Here's a detail most women miss. He references things from earlier conversations. He sends you the song you mentioned. He asks follow-up questions about the story you told him last week. His communication has continuity. And continuity is proof that your conversations are living in his head between the texts, marinating, mattering. Now here's where I have to give you the truth from the other side too, because I love you and I'm not going to let you get played. A flirting is consistent, not intense. Consistent. If his attention comes in floods and droughts, 3 days of nonstop texting, then a week of silence, that is not flirting. That is a man managing options. He doesn't want you. He wants access to you. There is a difference, and that difference is everything. Real interest is steady. It has a heartbeat. It doesn't flatline every time something shinier walks by. Sign number 8. He gets a little nervous around you and he tries to hide it. Now I know what you were taught. You were taught to look for the smooth man, the confident man, the man with the perfect line. And sure, some men are smooth, but here's what nobody tells you. The smoother the man, the more practiced he is. And practice means repetition. And repetition means you are not the first audience for that performance. But a man who genuinely likes you, really likes you, loses a little bit of his cool. His laugh comes out a beat too loud. He fumbles a word. He adjusts his shirt. He touches his face. He tells a story and loses the middle of it because he's watching you watch him. That man is not awkward. That man is affected. You have gotten under his skin and his composure is leaking. See, a man's nervousness around you is a compliment he cannot fake. Cocky is cheap. Any man can perform confidence. But nervousness is the body admitting that you matter. His hands don't know where to go because his heart doesn't know where it stands. That is not weakness, sister. That is sincerity with shaky hands. I knew a woman, let's call her Tasha. Tasha went out with a man everyone described as the smoothest guy at the firm. On their date, He knocked over his water glass, called her by his sister's name once, and laughed at his own joke before the punchline. Tasha almost wrote him off. I said, Tasha, a man who is smooth with every woman is smooth with no one in particular. That man short-circuited around you. His system doesn't glitch for women he's neutral about. She gave him a second date. They've been married 4 years now. So when you see a good man get a little clumsy in your presence, be gentle with him. Don't mistake his nerves for lack of interest. It is the opposite. It is interest with the volume turned up too high for his body to hide. Sign number 9. He makes himself useful to you. This is one of the oldest languages men speak, and it predates smooth talk by about 100,000 years. A man shows interest by being of use. Your car makes a noise. Suddenly he's under the hood or knows a guy. You mention you're moving. He's there with a truck and 2 friends. Your computer acts up at work. He appears at your desk like tech support with a crush. He remembers you like that brand of tea, and a box of it shows up on your desk. Here's the male psychology, plain as I can put it. Men bond and express care through doing, not saying. Words are hard for a lot of us. Action is our first language. When a man starts solving your problems, handling your inconveniences, showing up with his 2 hands and his Saturday morning, he is saying, in the only grammar he's fluent in, let me be valuable in your life. Let me be the man you call. And listen, this is also how you measure him, because any man can flirt with his mouth. Flirting with his effort is a whole different tax bracket. Sweet talk costs nothing. Showing up costs something. A man who invests his time and his labor in you is telling you what you mean to him in a currency that cannot be counterfeited. Now, one warning here, because there's always a woman watching this who needs to hear it. Do not mistake a man using you for a man being useful to you. If the helpfulness only flows one direction, if he is useful when it serves him and absent when it serves you, that is not courtship. That is a man keeping his account in good standing so he can make withdrawals later. Real interest gives without keeping score. Watch the pattern, not the performance. Sign number 10. He talks about the future with you in it. Casually, carelessly, almost, on purpose. Have you ever been to that jazz spot downtown? You'd love it. Not we should go, not yet. He's not that brave. But he places you in the sentence. You have to see this movie when it comes out next month. Next month, sister. He is assuming you'll still be in his world next month. My friends would love you. My mom makes this dish. It reminds me of what you cooked. He is floating trial balloons, little test flights of a future where you two are a thing, and he is watching your face every single time to see if the balloon gets smiled at or shot down. This is the most advanced stage of flirting there is, because it is the closest a cautious man gets to actually saying the thing. He is giving you a preview of a life with him and measuring your reaction. And here's the part that should make you sit up. Men do not do this recreationally. A man does not casually future talk with women he sees as temporary. His imagination has already moved you in, and his mouth is just leaking the floor plans. And then there's the deepest version of this sign. He tells you things he doesn't tell everybody. His worries about his job, the story about his father, the dream he's embarrassed to say out loud. When a man starts handing you his interior world, baby, the flirting phase is already over. He is not trying to impress you anymore. He is trying to be known by you. And for a man, being known is the scariest and most intimate thing there is. He is standing in front of you emotionally unarmed, hoping you'll handle his truths like the precious things they are. Now, let me pause right here, sister, because I can feel some of you through the screen. You've been nodding along, and there's a lump in your throat because you recognize a man in these signs. Maybe it's the coworker. Maybe it's the friend of 15 years. Maybe it's the man you already love who did every single one of these things before he was yours. And hearing them again makes your eyes sting because now you know for certain what you only suspected back then. And some of you have a different ache. You're realizing that the man you've been decoding, the one you've been twisting yourself into knots over, does none of these things. He doesn't look. He doesn't remember. He doesn't orbit, doesn't tease, doesn't show up. And you have been calling his absence mystery. Baby, listen to me. There is no mystery. Consistency is the confession. Absence is the answer. And I'm not saying that to shame you. I am saying that to wake you up because you have been spending your beautiful, one-of-a-kind heart trying to translate a language that man never bothered to speak. You are not crazy for wanting to be chosen clearly. You are not needy for wanting signals you don't have to squint at. You are not asking for too much when you ask to be pursued in ways you can actually see. Let me say it so it lands. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You will never be too much. The right man's attention will not be a riddle you solve. It will be a sunrise you watch. Now here's where most women mess up. And I need you to lean in for this part because knowing the signs is only half the battle. What you do when you see them is the other half. And this is where good women fumble good men. Mistake number one, you see the signs and you take over. You get excited, you get impatient, and you start doing his job for him. You text first every day. You suggest the dates. You define the relationship. You carry the whole courtship on your back like a mule and then wonder why he never learned to pursue you. Sister, listen to me. When you see the signs, your job is not to chase. Your job is to receive and respond. He looks, you smile. He teases, you volley back. He moves closer, you let him. You are the green light, not the engine. Men value what they have to move toward. Let him move. Mistake number two, you play so hard to get that you play impossible to get. I hear this advice given to women all the time, and it makes me want to pull my hair out. Men do not chase walls. Men chase doors that open a little wider every time they knock. If you like him and he's showing you these signs, warmth is your weapon. A man will walk away from a woman he likes if he reads her silence as rejection. Because remember the ego. He would rather leave early than be left. So when he flirts and you feel that little flutter, let some of it show. Not all of it. Some. A green light, baby. Just a green light. Mistake number three, and this is the one that costs women years. You see the signs, you feel the spark, and you abandon your standards because the chemistry is loud. No, ma'am. The signs tell you he wants you. They do not tell you he deserves you. Desire and character are two different departments, and a man can be fully staffed in one and bankrupt in the other. So, yes, enjoy the flirtation. Let it be delicious. But keep your list. Keep your pace. Keep your price. Flirting is the audition. It is not the contract. Now, let me tell you the power move that changes everything, because I promised you transformation and I keep my promises. Here it is. When you spot these signs, do nothing different except one thing. Become quietly, visibly delighted with your own life. I know that doesn't sound like a move. Stay with me. A man flirts to find out if he affects you. When you respond with warmth, but your feet stay planted in a life you already love, your friends, your purpose, your joy, your Saturday plans that do not include waiting by the phone, something happens inside him. His curiosity turns into hunger. His interest turns into pursuit. Because now you're not just a woman he likes. You're a woman he likes whose world does not revolve around him. And baby, there is nothing on this earth more magnetic to a man than a woman whose happiness he can contribute to but can never control. He flirts, you glow. He shows up, you welcome him. He pulls back, you keep glowing anyway, because your glow was never about him. That is the whole game. And it is not a game at all. It is self-respect wearing perfume. Here's what happens in his mind when you do this. At first, the flirting is a test. Remember? He wants to know if the water's warm. But when you stay warm without becoming available on demand, a new thought creeps in. Wait, she's glad to see me, but she's fine without me. How do I become the reason she smiles? Do you hear the shift? You stopped being the goal of his flirtation and became the prize of his effort. And men do not half-step for prizes. A man who wants you does not go silent. He goes stupid for you. He plans. He shows up. He escalates because now his ego isn't protecting him from you. It's pushing him towards you. And sister, this isn't manipulation. I'm not teaching you to play games. I'm teaching you to stop playing small. There is a difference. Games are fake scarcity. This is real abundance. Your life is actually full. Your joy is actually yours. You are not pretending to be busy. You are busy building something, and he gets to apply for a role in it. Now let me give you the flip side, the warning section, the part where I protect you from yourself. Because some of you will take these 10 signs and use them like a magnifying glass on a man who isn't giving you anything to magnify. You will start collecting crumbs and calling them signals. He liked your photo at 1 a.m. That's not a sign, that's insomnia. He watched your story. Baby, he watches everyone's stories. He watches highlight reels of strangers fishing. He said, you look nice today. Nice? Nice? A flirting man does not deal in nice. A flirting man is specific. That color on you should be illegal. See the difference? One is weather. The other is fire. Stop mistaking weather for fire. And hear me on this one. Do not use these signs to build a case for the man who is already taken, the man who is lukewarm, the man who flirts with you in the dark and pretends not to know you in the light. Flirting that hides is not flirting. It's feeding. He is feeding on your attention to prop up his ego, and he will never build you a table. Attention without intention is a transaction where you pay and he eats. Here's your measuring stick. The one line I want tattooed on your decision making. Flirting is a door. Courtship is walking through it. If a man has been flirting for months and never walks through the door, never asks, never builds, then the flirting is the relationship. And it's all he ever intends to give you. Enjoy it for what it is or walk away from it, but do not renovate your heart for a man who only visits. Let me tell you one more story. I knew a woman, let's call her Denise's sister, April. April had a man at church who flirted with her for 2 years. 2 years, sister. The looks, the teasing, the remembering everything, the we shoulds that never became we did. And April stayed in that lobby of almost for 2 whole years, turning down real suitors because the almost man had her heart on a string. One day she heard something like what I'm telling you now, and something in her hardened in a good way, like clay becoming brick. She stopped volunteering her warmth. She stopped being his emotional snack bar. And you know what happened? He noticed within a week. And when he finally asked her why she'd changed, she said the truest thing she'd ever said. I realized you liked having me. You never planned on keeping me. He had nothing to say because there was nothing to say. 6 months later, April met a man who did all 10 of these signs and then walked through the door in the first month, asked her out properly, stated his intentions out loud with his chest, because that's what men do when they mean it. They mean it out loud. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Somewhere in your history, there's an April chapter. We all have one. The almost, the lobby. The man who flirted like a king and committed like a ghost. You're not foolish for having stayed. Hope is not foolishness. Hope is just expensive. And some of us have paid too much for too little. That ends today. So now let's bring this home, because I want you walking away from this video different than you came. The next time you're in a room and you feel that tug on the back of your neck, you'll know. The next time he just happens to be wherever you are, you'll know. The next time he remembers the thing you said once, teases you about your terrible playlist, stands with his whole body pointed at you like a sunflower in July, texts you good morning like clockwork, goes clumsy and nervous in your presence, fixes the thing you didn't even ask him to fix, and starts casually placing you in his future sentences, you will not wonder. You will know. Not X, not guessing, knowing. And when you know, here's who I need you to be. Not the woman who sprints toward the attention. Not the woman who plays cold to look valuable. The woman who receives it all with warm, unhurried confidence because she knows what she is. You are not a hotel. You are not a convenience store. You are a woman, a whole entire woman, and his flirting is not a favor he does you. It is a privilege he earns the right to continue. So carry yourself like a woman who knows. Chin easy, smile slow, standards high. When he looks, let him look. When he comes closer, let him come. When he flirts, flirt back just enough to keep the door open, and then watch with your feet planted in your beautiful full life, whether he ever builds up the nerve to walk through it. Because here's the last truth, and I want it to be the one that rings in your ears tonight. The signs were never really about him. They're about you learning to see yourself clearly enough to recognize when someone else sees you too. You were never invisible. You were never imagining it. You were never asking for too much. You were just waiting for someone to hand you the decoder ring, and baby, now you're holding it. You are not too deep. You are not too emotional. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. And the man who flirts with you and then follows it with action is not doing you a favor. He is recognizing a fact. If this hit your spirit today, drop a heart in the comments and let another woman hear this too. Because somewhere there's a sister sitting in her car at a red light, replaying a conversation, wondering if she's crazy. And sometimes the best thing we can do for our sisters is say, here, this is for you. Now go on. He's probably looking at you right now.